Welcome back to another video on this channel. Today I thought I would do some quick little video for you because I've been gone a while and my upload schedule is crazy, and I just want to talk to you guys about like where I've been and like some upcoming life plans I have right now, because I'm in a very transitioning phase of my life, and this is in one way therapeutic for me to fill you guys in, but also it grounds me, and it's a way for you guys and for myself to hold myself accountable for what I want to do in the future. So anyway, this is just going to be a video about the next steps in my life. And before we get into it, just be sure to, if you like this video, if you like my content, to go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment on it, and share it with a friend. It would be super, super, super helpful. And with all that out of the way, let's get back into the video. Okay, so where have I been? I recently took a trip back home to Indiana for my birthday. I've been there for the past 2 weeks, and we just got in, I think, yesterday. It was a wonderful trip. I got to spend time with family, and it was also very grounding. I'm going to be completely honest. My mental health was absolute trash before heading back home, and I think it was just a bunch of compounding factors. First of all, obviously, we've been quarantining and like self-isolating for a while in Boston, which means we were very limited to our studio apartment. And although we are more than blessed to be able to have housing during this time, we live in a tiny apartment. It's a tiny space. Being confined 24/7 when you're an extrovert is in itself very, very challenging. I know it's put a stressor on like I said, my mental health, my mood swings, just it's hard to be positive in that sort of mindset. So it was good to get away. It was good to be outside again. It was good to be in some place with open spaces and open air, and with more people to talk to than just my husband. So that alone really helped a lot. But also, it's been really challenging for me. As most of you know, I just graduated in May with a master's degree, and actually got my diploma in today too, so that was really exciting. But because I just graduated, I am trying to find a job during the school pandemic, when a lot of companies I know are having hiring freezes. They're, only essential workers are coming in. There's just not a lot of activity going on right now, and it's really nerve-wracking for someone like me who wants to get in an industry, not necessarily industry, but in a type of field that is really, really competitive inherently. Because I know I had some peers of mine who graduated last year before this pandemic even went on, and it took them like a whole year to find a job. It's also been causing me a lot of stress. And I've just felt kind of lost. I'm going to be completely honest. I've been feeling really lost in essentially like what my purpose is. I know this is going to sound metaphysical and kind of cheesy, but like I've been kind of disconnected to who I am at my core. And I'll get into more of that. Like, that's kind of the main theme of this video. It's like I've just been feeling really lost personally, and my goals. Like, I can't really identify a goal. Like, I had a career goal, but at the same time, I don't feel as enthusiastic or passionate about that career goal anymore. And I don't know what I want out of life. I've already done so much. I've been so blessed, and I've accomplished so many things. Like, I'm not shaking a stick at anything I've done. I've done a lot, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. But at the same time, I want more. It's just I don't fully know what I want. And also, being 25, I feel like I am getting older, and that, it's hard not to look at your peers and see what they're doing, and feeling like you're lacking in some department. And although I would consider myself a pretty confident person, it's hard to say that like we don't do that as people. Everybody does that. It's hard to escape that, especially for those people who grew up on the age of the internet. It seems like it's second nature to us. But like I said, I feel rejuvenated. I truly, truly do, coming back from Indiana. I was able to get in touch with my roots a little bit more, and although there's parts of Indiana that I never want to go back to, let's be honest, there's a reason why a lot of kids want to get out of the Midwest. It did bring me back. It did center me, and it reminded me of who I was before I left home. It reminded me of who I was before I was going on all these adventures, and what I thought was truly important, and what I still think is important. And some of that got buried along the way, and I don't know if it was just because just that's what happens when you have just blind ambition. I don't regret like who I am or anything. Like I don't want to say that, but um, I don't know. I think I've been cut off to my emotions or my emotive or my expressive or creative side, which was so much of who I am. I know I started this YouTube channel to try to get back into that, to get into these creative projects. Um, and I feel like it's been helping a lot, but it's still not hitting the mark just yet, which kind of comes into this announcement. I really want to get back into writing. Um, some people who have been watching this might have known me from when I was a kid, and so this, makes more sense. But if you're new or we're just meeting each other for the first time, I used to want to be a writer. That was my dream job ever since I was a little girl. My goal was to make books for people who were like me or who grew up like me, who felt things like I felt, and I just wanted them to read something and be connected to each other based on that. It was so much grounded in just feelings and emotion. And when you're working in international relations or policy, a lot of times they try to teach you how to disconnect. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional now. They teach you how to disconnect from that and just see things completely rationally and based on statistic and what policy would affect the greatest amount of people, right? So I've lost touch with that. I lost touch with that girl and being home and just feeling everything again. I don't know what it is, but when I go home and I surround myself in nature, even if it's just corn, I feel things again. I feel the grass. I feel the rush of nitrogen in the ground that comes up right after it rains. That was my core of who I was in my writing. And I wrote about love. I wrote about pain. I wrote about whatever I was feeling, and I tried that with some poetry again, and that helped too. But I just haven't been consistent with it, and, a long time ago when I first left home, well, prior to that, I was always the reading kid. I was always the writing kid. That's what I was supposed to do in high school. That's what all my teachers told me I was supposed to do. I literally have in my yearbook a teacher that told me that I was going to change the world with my pen, and that's who I was meant to be. That's what I intrinsically knew. I knew literature analysis. I knew how to tell what people were feeling and how to connect that, from one piece of work to another, it's just, and when I first started college and when I met Douglas, I was actually working on my own novel. Granted, it was inspired by a game he made way back when, and I didn't stick with his original script at all. I kind of flipped it and really made it my own. But I had at least 100 and something pages written. Like I would write a little bit every day, and it was fictional and creepy and weird and magical, but it made me feel alive. And I didn't let everybody read it, but I had some people read it, and it was a lot of verification. And like, you shouldn't do something just because other people think you're good at it. If you generally enjoy something, just keep doing it because it's good for you. I'm just saying that to bring into context that this could, I could pursue this as a career. And I think that sometimes other people kind of bring you back down to earth when you're kind of lost in yourself. And so that's also why I'm bringing up like what other people have said to me. When I graduated high school, like I got into a writing program at an art school in Brooklyn, and I wanted to be a comedy writer for SNL. I wanted to tell jokes for a living, and I just remember writing in high school too, and I would write like, there was one assignment that we had to mimic like a Chaucer story, and we had to write our own Chaucer story, and I ended up writing a story. The narrator was a prostitute, and it talked about like a knight ejaculating into somebody's face, like, I don't know, but it was so funny. And I remember making everyone like uncomfortable, but they're in hysteria, and my teacher took it home and read it to all her friends, and I don't know. So I lost part of that. I left that English major world partially because I didn't find it challenging enough, and I felt like it was just very one-sided perspective. And like, of course it's English, so you're going to learn about England and the history of that, but I felt like those stories were really limited, and I wanted to learn more. So that's why I got into IR, world history, things like that, other languages, because I wanted to learn more about different types of people, and I didn't want to keep reading about the same types of people over and over again. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And then, I just kept following the ball, and I really wanted to get involved with politics just because I saw so much injustices going on, and I wanted to do something about it. And again, it eventually put me into getting more education because I thought, okay, well, maybe I can occupy these places of power and make big systemic changes from top down, you know what I'm saying? So, I got my master's degree, and even during that, I was doing fine. I got all A's and B's. Like, I understood the materials and I learned a lot. I really did. I learned a lot about honestly reality, and what's feasible and what's not, and constant struggles that people are going to have, but ways you can change them slightly to make them better. And even though it might seem like a slight change to you, it could be drastic for somebody else, right? So I did learn a lot, and I learned a lot about communication. I learned a lot about people within these past 2 years, and I'm wonderfully, wonderfully blessed for that. But also, it wasn't until the very end of this experience of graduate school, because graduate school is hard for so many freaking different reasons, and that can be in its own video in itself if you want to hear my opinion about graduate school. At least from my experience, it's just nuts. But like, I took a speech writing class, right, or speech writing and delivery at the very end to just kind of like knock off. And I mean, it's an extra credit, and it was fun. It was something I knew how to do. And I was writing again, and like the same thing, the professor was like, you are a storyteller. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Kind of shook me up a little bit. And I just think it's so ironic that like my master's thesis ended up being about memes and internet humor and how people connect with each other, and emotional responses to information, emotional responses to, international phenomenon, or even terrorist attacks and things like that. Like, it was so at my core of who I am. And I didn't even realize it because I was just trying to enjoying what I like to do, right? And I just, it was so radical. And looking back on it, so radical for my program, because if you look at the other theses, like my friends worked super hard, and I'm sure they're all passionate about what they did too, but it was very in line with like what traditionally goes into international relations. And then here I am coming out of left field talking about alien stock and memes and, people fighting terrorist attacks with humor. It made people laugh, but there was some core truth to it. There was core truth that people are still feeling these days, and those feelings are valid. And I guess that's why I liked public diplomacy so much, is because it was all about capitalizing on people's feelings. Now, public diplomacy also tends to use those feelings to try to promote policies, agendas, things like that. I mean, everybody has an incentive, just same way businesses use that in commercial marketing or whatever. But anyway, this is just a long-winded way to tell you guys that throughout my academic journey, I've realized that you can learn a lot contextually. There's people who just stick in academia, and they are meant to study one specific field and know as much as they can about that field and talk about it as much as they want. But for me, what my academic experience really taught me is that my soft skills make me different from every other person that was in my cohort with me. And it makes me unique, and I shouldn't bury those anymore. I shouldn't try to be the conventional type of policy writer, because I'm not. I'm not, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Period. So am I still going to pursue a career in IR? Of course I am. I'm applying to a bunch of different jobs. I'm applying to some in the private sector about, social media marketing, and I've applied to a lot of think tanks and other research institutions. I've heard a lot of no's. I'm not going to lie. It's like that, but it's like that for everybody, and I should learn not to take that personally. I signed up for the Foreign Service exam, and I will be taking that on July 25th. And I'm trying to get a career in the public diplomacy track because, again, I'm knowledgeable on it, but more than that, I know how to connect with people, and I feel like that's something that the State Department or the U.S. government in general struggles with, and that I can be that relatable face for people because, again, I know how to convey how I'm feeling, I know how to be genuine, and I know how to genuinely connect with others, so I'm still going to try to do that. So that's what I'm working toward. I'm kind of backing off the job applications right now and focusing on studying that. I'm going to keep writing again. I'm working on something new. Sometimes I do poems here and there to help me express how I feel, and that's kind of like the core of my writing is in poetry. But I'm going to be working on another novel. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the old novel I mentioned to you guys earlier. I might, just because I'm so emotionally invested in that. But I've been really trying to start something new. I have a sci-fi piece in my head that I think is really timely, especially with certain conversations that are having in the world today about the role of technology in our lives. Um, and I've been sitting on this idea for literally like 6 years, and I just haven't done anything with it. So, this is why I'm making this video, is to kind of be like my coming out as a writer once again. Um, and I hope you guys will hold me accountable and comment and check in with me, being like, hey, you got your shit done yet? Or hey, did you write a couple pages today? Did you get that chapter finished? Did you do this? Did you do this? It would really, really mean a lot to me. And also, like, if you guys have any tips about writing too, I'd really, really appreciate them. Some people might be watching this and have done this for a very long time. Um, or even if you're somebody who's interested in IR like me, you're going to take the foreign service exam and you need a study buddy or something, like, just text me. That's fine. Or if you've gone through that process already, I would love to get any tips and advice on that as well, because I've been going through some of the test questions and some of them are kind of hard. Even having like 6 years dedicated to just this field, there's some questions that I still don't know the answers to, you know. I'd really appreciate any help I can get. Like I said, this YouTube channel has done a lot for me emotionally and mentally, and I think this could be a place where people really can, with similar ideas, can connect with each other, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, let me know. This was just kind of like a quick life update for you guys. I know it's not really my normal content. I have another video planned that's going to be more fun and me trying on clothes and being girly and shit. But I just wanted to produce this kind of content for you guys too, because this is genuinely who I am. You know, we're all people who are multifaceted and have varied interests. And I think it's important to show all sides of that. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like I said before, go ahead and like the video, like physically like this video. Comment down below, share this with a friend who might be interested in some of the things too, and please, please, please subscribe to the channel. If you're already watching, there's going to be other videos popping up here soon. Until then, wish me luck, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!